Hey guys, Dr. Decks here, and it's question and answer time. I threw out a question out on Instagram and got quite a few responses, so it's time for us to start delivering on some of those questions. Forgive me for the last time I asked you guys a question or had any questions. I totally didn't get any of those answered, so my bad on that. I'll try not to do that. So I'm going to reply to everybody on Instagram to check our YouTube page, because I need you guys to go over to YouTube and click that subscribe button, please. I'm begging you, okay? I don't do that very often. Anyway, here we go, all right? Okay, so Jordan Stead asks, have you ever used the Fortress railing products? Thoughts on them? I have used Fortress a little bit. My preference is Regal Ideas. That's the railing system that I really like, especially their crystal rail. But I've been doing some really cool things with their picket railing as well. And the glass system's pretty nice, but if I need to go to a cable rail system, then I have a local vendor that I use. It's called American Structures and Design, ASD. I think they're on Instagram, ASND or ASD or something like that. They do some really good stuff as well. So, Regal Ideas, ASD, and then everybody else. You also might want to look at TimberTech and their rail offerings as well. When I need a heat band railing, I use TimberTech exclusively, and they also have some new metal stuff that's out that's pretty cool, so check that out. Okay, Mike with 28 asks, how did you keep the post plumb? I didn't see any diagonal bracing. Well, good question. We use these special brackets that Simpson just came out with, and don't ask me the name of them or the model number because I can't remember at the moment. But they're a motion or a movement type of bracket, so they're specially engineered where when we poured the concrete, we put the bracket halfway into the concrete, and then it's supposed to be moment resistant. So what we did was, when we attached those posts and installed them, we didn't put up any side or diagonal bracing, because the post pretty much sat there by itself without needing that. So instead of putting in diagonal bracing, because we're on concrete, I went ahead and, as we cranked up each beam and set it in place, then we verified plumb. So we got our two main beams that held the four posts held our two main beams. We hadn't put in our cross beams yet. The posts would move a little bit, but not much. It was pretty stiff, even at 12 feet in the air. I was pretty impressed, but it still had a little bit of motion. So we just kept double checking our square, double checking our level to make sure that we're on point. And that's how we were able to build that cover without a bunch of diagonal bracing. If we were using helical piles, man, there would be bracing everywhere. We'd be in trouble. There's no way to get a ladder or anything. When you have so much diagonal bracing on a job site, it's difficult if you don't, when you're trying to get, especially when you're trying to get scaffolding in place. It makes it tough. Hope that answered your question, Mike. Okay, MJHICKM, Majihikum. Okay, so Majihikum asks, do you ever work north of Seattle? No. We don't work north of Seattle because I don't have a helicopter or an airplane. It takes us over 2 hours to get to Seattle. Tacoma on a good day with no traffic, it takes 35 to 45 minutes. I mean, if there's no traffic, it could probably get there in 35 minutes. With good traffic, it's 45 minutes. And with bad traffic, it's 2+ hours. And because Tacoma's been under construction for the last 5 years, it takes us 30 minutes to get to Fife, which is like the ultimate F word where I'm from. And so we try to stay south of this international airport, SeaTac Airport. We try to stay south of there and try to keep our commute, because and then the commute north isn't so bad, but coming back, the F word always makes us an hour plus more of our journey. It's terrible. 5. Google it. Casabella Carpentry asks, why you so cool, bro? Oh, thank you. I don't know. I'm just me. That's it. That's what it is. Thank you for saying that, though. It makes me feel good. I appreciate the positivity and all your positive comments, everyone. Keep it up. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. I appreciate you guys asking these questions, and that's why we're trying to put out these videos so that it can get you guys some answers. DW Harley asks, what top 3 tools are needed when DIY decking? Your top 3 tools, in my opinion, would be a really good chop saw, a compound slide miter saw with a stand would be nice, a really good impact driver. I prefer the Metabo HPT. Those are hard to beat, and you can get them wet, man. They just work in the rain all the time. And a table saw is pretty important, or if you're not going to get a table saw, consider a track saw. Track saw, sometimes you can do some cool stuff with it. You can't do with a table saw, but it's not as fast. So if it's a DIY thing, those 3 tools, if you're buying high end, you're going to spend $3 grand. You know, $2,500 to $3 grand for those tools. If you go on the cheapo side of things, or like, you know, get Ryobi, you might be able to pick it all up for, you know, $600. I don't know. I've never bought a Ryobi tool in my life, but I heard they're pretty cheap at Home Depot or whatever. So I know everybody has a budget, so if you think you're going to keep using those tools or add to your arsenal, consider purchasing something a little more longevity that'll last you a little bit longer. Hungerford_David asks, did the brackets come in black from Simpson, or did you get them painted? Okay, so the MPBZ, that's what they are. Simpson MPBZ, those are the moment brackets I was talking about. Those did not come powder coated because they had these little plastic clips and they're a Z-Max and they didn't want to deal with it. So I was just like, fine, just send them to me regular and I'll paint them. So that's what I did. I actually sprayed those with some Rust-Oleum. But everything else, all the big stuff, it all came powder coated from Simpson. They told me in the future to give them at least 6 weeks, but I was banging these guys to get me these brackets as soon as they could. I was actually 3 of them almost held us up all day, but we got them right on time. Like I had to go get them that morning, and we were installing them that afternoon. So very cool products, but they say about 6 weeks. Hexflow asks, I don't like composite colors for spa deck. What kind of wood do you recommend? Okay, Hex. Okay, so I think a good hardwood, what I would use around a hot tub or a spa. Probably the first thing that comes to mind is a product called Ipe, I-P-E. It's known as ironwood. That's just a trade name that a company sells it as, but the species is IPE, called Ipe. It's very hard. It's similar in cost to high-end synthetic composites, PVCs, that kind of stuff. Then there's Kumaru, and there's Mahogany, and all these other brands, Tigerwood. But I would stick with a harder wood that you can easily maintain. So Ipe would probably be my first choice. Antonio_remodeling asks, when you price our decks, which probably should say when you price your decks, do you price it by linear foot for each product you're using? I don't usually discuss pricing online, but I can tell you this. Yeah, everything I do is a la carte. So the deck's by the square foot. Railings are by the lineal foot. Stairs are by the lineal foot. So everything is a la carte with me. So it's either by the square foot or the lineal foot. That's how I do mine. White Cobo asks, have you ever worked with any South American deck woods like Greenheart or Ipe? So we just got a question about that. But yes, we've worked several times with Ipe. Cut some really cool stuff with it. Really hard wood, gotta have sharp blades. You gotta wax the ends when you're using it, or else it'll crack. So you minimize your cracks by waxing the ends and pre-drilling a lot. You go through a lot of pre-drill bits.